Hi, Kim Watson here with a new process video for Hip Kit Club. Today I'm going to focus on mixed media which came in the Color Kit in the June kits. For my background, using an archival ink, I decided to stamp a pretty background using a combination of the floral and butterfly stamps. I made sure that I used charcoal this time instead of the really stark black. I wanted a nice pretty vibe at the end once I'd added my inks and Shimmerz products. So you'll see what I'm doing is just grabbing a selection of stamps and using, I had sort of a basic idea of where I wanted to go with the design. So because I wanted to start, have a central accents in the middle of the page, so I needed a heavier layering of stamps in the middle, and then of course a scattering both top and bottom of those central clusters, so that I could get a little bit of tension on the page. But now, of course, not knowing exactly where I was going to place things meant I'd had no guarantee that the positioning of these stamps would be 100% accurate. So it's really sort of a case of hit or miss. But the beauty is that even if it didn't work out exactly, I would still have a really pretty texture underneath once I'd layered all my other elements on top. I was sort of arranging them like little floral like clusters, so you'll see that I've got a mixture of floral sizes as well as leaf fronds and butterflies in each little cluster. Now here I needed a leaf frond on this left hand cluster but didn't want the entire frond. So just used a piece of scrap paper as a mask to make sure that I didn't stamp over the flower design. Here I am, just adding a few scattered elements at the bottom and filling in a few more areas just in case they'll be seen once I've layered the other elements on top. It'll be nice to have obviously some of those smaller flowers shapes showing. Now once this was dry, well, the nice thing about the Ranger ink is that it dries quite quickly, so I could start almost immediately. I'm using the Shimmerz products which came in the kit. I started first of all with the Shimmerz Going Peach side. The nice thing about these paints or these mediums is they're super creamy and they're super sparkly, so they go on really thin and soft, and they've got such a nice overall feel once dry, leaving a very shimmery effect. To get more of a watercolor feel, I literally spritzed some water onto the remnants of the ink on the packaging and added those as well to the layers of ink. Notice how I'm mixing both shades. That is the Pink de Mayo, I don't think I said it right, and Going Peach side. Those two shades, one being warm, one being cool, actually work really well together, and the nice thing is that they coordinate super well with all the other elements in the kit. Now this ink, Vibez, the Frostbite, is very deceiving. In the bottle it seems like the shade is super dark, but actually it isn't. It's this gorgeous cornflower blue. Once dry, the shade is gorgeous. It's again super shimmery and coordinates really well with the other Shimmerz inks that came in the June color kit. What I'm doing here is just adding some water and dipping my brush straight into the Going Peach side and adding some splatters. I just wanted a few areas with some more intense color. So as you can see, the background is really pretty, and now what I'm doing is I'm just layering my elements. I really like this Pinkfresh Studio paper. I love the circle elements, so I'm just roughly cutting them out obviously sticking to the colors that I had chosen for my palette for this page, which is again limited. I love working with limited palettes. I'm focusing on the blue, inspired by those lovely denim and gold labels. The peach, obviously some of that soft pink, and then some accented yellow, which I think just makes everything else pop. I have sort of an asymmetrical diagonal design going on here. I think keeping the weight sort of two-thirds at the two-thirds of the bottom of the page just helps the design feel more balanced. Now I really wanted to get some slightly different shapes, so I took some of those little floral dies which came in the Vicki Boutin, or is it Boutin? I'm not sure of the pronunciation. I took some of those floral dies and just using some of the offcuts of that peach color that came in the Pinkfresh Studio paper, I die cut some flower shapes. Now for this piece, I thought that's the yellow piece, I thought it was a little big. So what I did is I actually ended up removing the yellow center. I loved that fine stripe. Thought it added some nice balance to my layering. And then of course was left over with the circular type. So just neatening it up a little. Ended up using it as an accent. And because it's so softly colored, it doesn't detract at all from the design. It looks really, really nice, just placed underneath on top of those butterflies. I needed a little yellow on that corner there under the peach butterfly. Again, just an offcut from that piece of paper. Doesn't have to be exactly circular, it's just you know, it works beautifully. Now what I did there is again I took some of those floral dies and using the printed acetate from my Savannah Dream collection that I designed for Pretty Little Studio, die cut some floral shapes which I then slipped under some of those circular layers, and it adds some gorgeous yellow, some yellow accenting. It just adds a little fun sparkle, and I think it works really well. Here I'm just adding some arbitrary layers underneath the photo to lift it off the background. Again, it was just an offcut of some stamped paper from the last layout that I did, where I stamped some of the Vicki Boutin stamps onto white cardstock. So I just used that and a little piece of trace or vellum, and it worked really well to lift that photo off the background. There we go. You can see it's just a piece of paper that I mentioned earlier, where I die cut some circles out of that stamped paper. Lifting layers using foam adhesive. I love using different heights of foam adhesive, sometimes single or double layer, to really create some areas of like higher dimension. I find that those shadows that are created with the different heights just add interest to the design. You see what I was saying earlier about you don't know exactly where the stamping is going to end up once you start layering your bits? Oh, excuse my big head in the way. But it actually doesn't matter that some of the things are covered, some of the stamped images are covered. It just adds lovely detailing or interest to the background page. I really like those chipboard chevrons which came in the chipboard pack from Pinkfresh Studio, and I love the way that they because I added 2 on the bottom and 2 on the top, and they're in the same line as each other, they're in line with each other, they just help to draw the eye both up, you know, to the top and the bottom of the page, creating like a subtle line 2/3 of the way across the page. These puffy sticker alphas from Pinkfresh Studio are my absolute favorite. I absolutely love the different collections they're bringing out. They're so easy to use. The quality is excellent, and of course they look super on this page. I wanted to add a little bit more contrast, so just had a little strip left over from that check paper, which is an exclusive for Hip Kit Club, designed by our very own Kimberly Hutchinson. So just roughly cut it with a craft knife. You can see it's all wonky, but that's cool, and then stuck it on the edges. Now here, because I felt that those denim labels were too dark, they were too contrasty, I took some of the Pinko de Mayo Shimmerz product, and using my finger just smushed it over those labels, again just muting that blue shade. I did the same with the black edges, top and bottom, again just to mute back or knock back that black, which I thought was too dark. Some colored splatters finished things off nicely. I thought some yellow would look great, and then there we go, I thought just a little touch of fine black might finish things off perfectly. So as you can see, another beautiful kit from Hip Kit Club. Their kits are always beautifully coordinated. The colors of the mixed media work so well with everything else. This page came together so nicely. And yeah, as you can see, mixed media doesn't have to be clever or difficult. Here are some close-ups to give you an idea of what it looks like. Yeah, close-up, obviously. And yeah, I'm really pleased with the results. So I hope you like this page. I hope you feel inspired to try some for yourself. Thanks again for watching. Remember to pop on over to our website at hipkitclub.net and grab yourself some kits or a new subscription. Thanks, and have a wonderful day. See you soon. Bye bye.